In this Northern Brewer video, we're talking kegged cocktails. Easy, sparkling, delicious beverages on tap, perfect for summer get-togethers, but really good any time of year. We'll talk about how fun keg cocktails can be and walk you through two of our own recipes, a refreshingly tart, sparkling Palmoa and the pineapple popper, a cocktail with a kick of sweet heat provided by a homemade hot pepper simple syrup. The recipes of which, of course, are linked in our video description. What's going on, everybody? This is Chip and
William,
or as my toddler calls him, Wilwum. We're here at Northern Brewer HQ at the end of a long day. We're enjoying a couple of keg cocktails that we made. We had this idea earlier in the summer, like what is something that we could tell people to make quickly for summer parties, get-togethers, barbecues, graduation parties, all the like, but you know, you're running short on time, you can't actually brew or ferment something. What do you put on keg cocktails?
Yeah.
There are several advantages to keg cocktails. A, there's something a little different on tap besides beer. Cocktails offer a wide range of refreshing, summer-friendly flavors, naturally sweet fruit juices, purees, tantalizing tart fruits, herbs like mint, lavender, rosemary. Second, and possibly more important, is you don't actually have to wait for that fermentation time to enjoy and share. Quick turnover time, just mix it, blend it, carbonate, and serve. It's also convenient to make a big batch of cocktail and have it on hand rather than being stuck behind the bar making a bunch of individual servings all night long and missing out on your own party. Lastly, cocktails are easily scalable. Our demonstrations were made in 1-gallon kegs to make things portable, easy to share, but Northern Brewer carries kegs in 0.5 gallon, 1 gallon, 3 gallon, and the classic 5 gallon. So it's simple to scale up to whatever need you might have. Before we get into these recipes and tasting notes, if you dig nerding out on alcoholic beverages like we do, give this video a like, subscribe, and let us know what cocktails you think would be fun to serve from a keg in the comments below. As far as recipe development, when we kind of set out on this, we're like, obviously there's classic cocktails that would probably work, such as
gin and tonic. I mean, that would be my first go-to. I always think of mojitos when it comes to keg cocktails. I've done that a few times, and it's pretty nice. Kind of what we've hinted at. You can make, like you did, a simple syrup, but infuse that with mint, so you don't have to do that later at the party and always be stumbling over that and just keep pouring.
Right.
I also think of like Jack and Cokes.
Oh.
Which would be kind of weird because you're putting Coke in there, but...
Or you could get like the Coca-Cola syrup and make a batch of like home.
Yeah.
I see what's going on here. I think the point is what you want to think about is something obviously with carbonation. So that might be a cocktail recipe that already exists that has either club soda, tonic, or
a soda of some sort.
A LaCroix, one of these like flavored bubbly waters, or even in the Palmoa's case that we're going to talk about in a second here, that's a super sugary grapefruit soda that we kind of pulled back on.
Yeah, because there's two variations, so we went with one other variation that doesn't use soda.
One other thing to kind of throw out there is, you know, good opportunity to experiment with new flavors. This is almost like brewing. It's like, oh, a new malt or a new hop. Now you might work with a fruit puree, a flavoring, the silver cloud flavorings that we have here. I was looking down, I was like, oatmeal cookie, marshmallow, peanut butter? I mean, those all sound weird to be sparkling, but I'm sure somewhere in there you could use them with a light hand to do something special. One important thing that we've kind of decided after 2 rounds of doing this is ice is your friend. The first time I made mine and William made his, we served them just like straight up poured in a glass. And they were good, but they were, now that I have them this way on ice, they were overwhelming.
Yeah.
They were concentrated flavors. The second round when we poured it up for some coworkers here at the Northern Brewer Tap Room, ice in that cup, just like ice in many actual cocktails, really, it does a dilution thing, obviously, of the alcohol, sweetness, all these mixers. I just feel like it kind of like made it bloom.
Yeah.
It seems like a duh, giving like what it does to whiskey and stuff.
Yep, I agree with that. And I also like, as you get down in the drink, it gets a little bit more watered down, so you don't have as strong of drink at the beginning. And the flavor profile changes slightly, and I enjoy that.
We're going to tell you about our recipes, but before we do that, I just want to say we found this really cool video from Liber and Company. They really do a pretty in-depth technical walkthrough of making 5-gallon keg cocktails. I think maybe even more for commercial standpoints, bars and restaurants.
Sure,
But it
yeah.
would apply to anybody here. Check that out. I'll link it in the description below. Also, our Kegging 101 video, if you are a beginner to kegging at all, check that out. It is worth looking at because it teaches you kind of the equipment, the mechanics, and then the idea of dialing in the perfect carbonation. Enough talking. Cocktail recipe. So we kind of went classic,
Yeah.
and then I invented something for this. So let's talk about your sparkling Paloma.
Yeah, so it's just grapefruit juice, tequila, water for ours, and then a little splash of lime and a small pinch of salt. So 5 ingredients. Most of it is 3 ingredients, though.
Yeah.
Realistically.
Your inspiration, you like this cocktail?
Yeah. I've enjoyed Palomas for a while, and there's a canned craft brewery making a Paloma locally, and I enjoy it, but I was getting tired of paying that price for it. So when this idea came out, I was like, Paloma, I'm doing it. So.
And when you put together your recipe, you basically kind of just took the classic cocktail and almost scaled it up?
Yeah, pretty much. There's 2 classic examples or styles for the Paloma. There's one that uses grapefruit soda, so like Squirt or Fresca, and just tequila, or one that uses club soda and grapefruit juice. So I went with the club soda route since we're carbonating it.
Right.
Replace that with water because we're going to be carbonating it. Lime is optional for all of them.
Yeah.
But with my experimentation, it just kind of made the grapefruit pop a little bit more, kind of rounded out that citrus character, made it a little bit more interesting. And the more surprising thing to me was that salt addition. It really does bring out more of the flavors. And like you've mentioned during tasting a few other people, there is, even without the salt in this, there is a salty quality to the tequila and the grapefruit. And when you put it all together, it just kind of marries it then.
But there is salt in this.
Yes,
Yeah.
yep.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Without it even, yeah, grapefruit has almost like a seawater kind of quality to it
Yeah,
sometimes.
and we were getting that with the tequila too when we were sampling different tequilas.
I think we kind of made this point when we were talking about soda water in the recipe, but like here you have to remember that carbonation is literally an ingredient. So you kind of have to bring that into play. Yes, it's bubbles, but it also has an acidic quality
Yeah.
to it that happens even
Yep.
with beer. Anything that gets kegged, carbonated, has an acidic quality. So you want to kind of work that into your equation. You are basically creating the soda water or the flavored soda water. So in your case, you were kind of subbing the club soda with water and carbonation, and then the grapefruit.
Yep.
Should mention this is about 13% alcohol when you go to our blog post
Yep.
and read it. It's essentially 1/3, 1/3, 1/3 grapefruit tequila water with a little fraction of that, well, a decent 5%-ish or whatever being the lime juice.
Yeah.
But a little bit stronger, so also a good thing to have ice
In the
it.
morning. Oh, sorry.
This would be a great brunch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Couple of coworkers of ours, when we served it, really appreciated the double down on the tart, that lime, that grapefruit. Other people had suggested that the agave nectar that I had suggested we
Yeah.
put in it would have helped, but then when you go to this one, it's so overly sweet that when you have them back and forth,
Yeah.
you're like, I'm good.
And I like the bitterness too that grapefruit has, which to me that's more present, and I think that and the tartness is what some people struggle with, but that's what I look for, almost like an IPA. I want that bitterness. I don't want a little bit of sweetness. I want that bitterness in there more. But it's your cocktail, so if you want sweetness, add a little sweetness to it.
Yeah, do what you want. I would say always include water, though. Like, this should not be your mixer and the alcohol and carbonation. Water needs to be a part of your recipe.
Yeah, it'll be a short night otherwise.
Yeah, whether that brings you to 13% like Williams, or like mine is more like 6-7%. So this is the pineapple popper. Quick rundown of the recipes. Water, of course, pineapple juice, white rum, mezcal, and a simple syrup made of 3 hot peppers: fresh jalapeno, dried chipotle peppers, dried chili de arbol. In our case, the chipotle I use are from, I think, our Porter kit,
Yep.
and the chili de arbols came straight from the warehouse from the Mexican hot chocolate
Yep.
stout kit, which we all noted when we first brought that kit out. It's
Spicy.
hot as heck.
Yeah,
If
it is
you
spicy.
like it that way, And if you tip the seeds out like we say, it gets a little less hot. So what I was going for here was kind of like a summer grilled classic, the jalapeno hopper, that heat, that peppery, a little bit of that smoky roasty that you would get. It's usually wrapped in bacon. I ain't trying to put bacon in this cocktail. So I wanted smoke, and I found that in the form of both the mezcal at a small amount in the mix and the chipotle pepper. When I put that into this simple syrup during my testing, really brought out the smoky flavor. It brought out this roasty, toasted pepper skin along with the de arbol. I almost compare those to just like toasted pepper, not even roasted, just toasted.
Yep.
Really nice.
I think it's a good example of 1 + 1 = like 10. Like it's just not that it's like over the top smoke, but that smoke character is just more complex.
People have loved this. I think more people have like a sweet tooth than a tart tooth. So I would definitely say both times we served these kegs up next to each other here, this one went a lot faster.
It's because I wasn't here.
Someone described it as the flavors bend or kind of ebb and flow. You get like the sweet, then the heat comes to the back of your throat after another little second or another sip. It always starts sweet, but it is really, really fun. The mezcal, the smoke of the pepper, pineapple. I honestly like kind of like the lower alcohol in this one. I wouldn't call it a wine cooler, but it's more on par with the vibe of a wine cooler.
Yep.
Than say a true cocktail. I've never test blended a cocktail like this. It was really fun. My coworker Troy and I literally just started at the bottom of this gallon pitcher because we knew that's what we wanted to end up with for the keg. And we started with this much water, then this much pineapple juice. We tasted. I will note along the way, we found what we thought would be a perfect stopping point if we wanted it to be a legit 2-cocktail kind of night cocktail. And we called that the Imperial Pineapple Popper because we're home brewers. And that's also listed in the blog article. It would be where I would go with this if you really wanted it to be like a pretty alcoholic oomph version of what this is, a more sparkly, refreshing version of. But Troy was a big help. William was a big help. All of our coworkers. Anthony! Hey!
He was the one with the bending terms too. That was great.
Yeah. We did both note for our project, it was weird that we both chose something that kind of leaned
Citrusy, fruity.
hazy cocktails.
Yeah, we joked that we made the milkshake IPA cocktails.
Yeah.
But that was when we didn't put ice in it too, and the ice made it not as thick looking.
Yeah. But to your point, I think the mojito and the gin and tonic, if either of those are your thing, would be a great place to start. Make a simple syrup. If you've got these herbs that would usually get muddled, perhaps you don't want to muddle a 5-gallon bucket of mint or orange peels in an old fashioned. Let us know what you decide to do, or if you've done something like this before. Honestly, if you're a professional, if you're a restaurant or a bar, share your recipe if that's something that is not too proprietary and you want the world to learn about it. In conclusion, I think this is a great thing to play around with for a party, or again, I kind of like the idea of just having it because you don't have to make one over and over if you know this is something you might like over the course of a long weekend or just in general. We sell all the kegs you could ever want at Northern Brewer, so check out the blog for the recipe. Check out Northern Brewer for our cute little gallon kegs, half-gallon kegs. This was super fun.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. We're at work. William said, yeah.
Nitrogenated Irish coffee.
Todd Jackson, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep.
Go for it. It's not because of you, it's me. It's William, actually. No.
I'm just trying to catch up.